can survive the temporary, you'll meet another version of yourself. I coach lots of successful people in all kinds of industries, people that have run countries, businesses, sports, entertainment. I am one myself, and I can tell you that the difference with them and most people is they have a different relationship with pain. See, we're wired all the way back to the caveman days to avoid pain. That's how our brains are wired. It keeps us alive. What actually keeps you alive does not make you successful. And so our proclivity is to avoid pain and discomfort. And when we're going through it, we try to get through it in such a way that it doesn't cause us much pain. Because, well, why? I said, you have a different relationship with pain than everybody else. You pursue it and chase it when you go in the gym, because you know on the other side of that pain, you get introduced to another set of legs. You get introduced to another set of biceps. You get introduced to another set of abs, so you're willing to go through it. Most guys will do what they can to minimize it, mitigate it, or avoid it. I know this because in my own life that's true.
I love that because that's how I've lived my entire life. I don't know anything about that, but people go, man, you have such a strong will. It's something that you build. Like, I never forget, I was on a podcast one time, and this dude goes, you were blessed with a strong mind. Like, what the hell are you talking about? I was blessed with a strong mind. That's something that you have to develop. You develop that over years, decades of suffering and going back into the suffering. A lot of guys don't want to go back into that water. Don't want to go back into the hard stuff. Maybe not anything hard in life. Once you get through it, when something sucks so bad in life, this is on this that we're talking about now. Very few people want to go back. They're happy they graduated. I realized I'm the same way. I don't want to go back. I have to go back. I must go back. Because that is exactly where all the knowledge of my life exists, was back there, and what you're talking about. Well, I didn't know anything about this, but how I grew a will was constantly doing these things. To now, it's just life. I wake up, while it still sucks, it's just life. You don't sit back and like, oh my God, like, I have days I don't want to do it, but I know I'm gonna do it. I know from years of just doing it. So that's beautiful, and this is why I came on here with you today, and I'm glad that you're talking about this, because human beings need to hear this. They need to stop hearing these hacks on this and that. There's no fucking hack, bro. There's no fucking hack. Yeah, you may this and that and saunas and all this shit yeah, it's great. There is no fucking life hack. To grow that thing, how do you grow it? Do it, and do it, and do it, and do it. That's the hack. The hack is gonna fucking suck. And that's what I realized. That's what I realized. Life, that's why I wanted to come on here today. I didn't want to come on here and talk about no fucking passion and purpose and how to get the fuck out of bed and how to hit a fucking alarm clock and all this catchphrase bullshit. Because that wasn't how I lived. That wasn't how I lived. I woke up like every human being does and goes, fuck, man, I'm a fucking piece of shit today. How the hell is this gonna work out for me? And you fight that. And you fight that. You don't override it. There's no override button. It's the conversation in your fucking, like, in your head. So how do you do that? We don't have enough of these conversations about the real conversation that every human being is having. And they have no idea how to get out of it.
I want to talk to you about winning. How many of you want to win? Yes? You are one decision away from changing your life. And you have to accept that. You're one new meeting, one new relationship, one new contact, one new action, one new decision away from shifting your life from where it is right now to a totally different place. So what's the decision? You already know. I could go backstage now. There's something you've been hesitating on. There's a contact you need to make, isn't there? There's a job you need to quit. There's a relationship you need to engage in. Maybe there's a relationship you need to leave. I don't know what it is, but I know there's a decision that you need to make to take you to the next level, just like I know that's true for me. Because decisions shape our destiny when they're backed up by some massive ass action. Okay, but you can't take the action if you don't decide. What you need is to get after it. And I want you to get desperate to make that decision. Why? Because our obsessions become our possessions. What you obsess about most regularly, you will eventually possess in your life. The challenge for most people, sisters and brothers, is that we obsess on the things we're fearful of, what we don't have, what we're worried about. And then we end up possessing those things over and over again, rather than programming ourselves to become obsessed with what we want, what our dreams are, what we believe we deserve. When we become obsessed about those things, long term, we end up possessing those things. So the way that I changed my life first is I worked on my identity. Your identity is the thoughts, concepts, and beliefs that you hold to be most true about yourself. Stay with me. Here's how it works. This is how life works. I can teach you all of the mechanics of winning. But winning is about 75% psychology, about 25% mechanics. And if you can't get the psychology part right, you can do all the actions perfectly. And you've proven this to yourself several times and still not produce the results you want. If you can't find a way to be happy in this moment, in this time right now, I promise you, when you arrive at wealth, you are going to bring you with you. And it will only magnify the things you don't like about yourself when you get a bunch of money. I learned that firsthand. I know what it's like to fail. And then once I started to turn it around, I wanted to win so bad, I was going to fake it till I made it. I tell you that to start out today. It's a long way of telling you I relate to where you are to some extent. Some of you are too cool. You're like, well, I'm not like in that kind of a condition. Yes, you are. You're broke. You're broke. And until you admit where you are and define where you are and quit playing it cool and try to fool everybody about where you are, you're going to keep losing. Let me be real with you now that I've been funny with you. Now we're going to get real. Stop bullshitting everybody. You're not fooling anybody. You talk to a real wealthy man, I know what you really got going on. And by the way, your Uncle Larry, the lawyer, making $350 grand a year, that ain't money. That's not money. If you're not at least at multiple seven figures in this world, you are still broke. Trust me. My brother-in-law makes $280,000. He lives in Chino Hills. He can't even afford to buy a damn house right now where he lives because he can't save. Now, if he had these strategies, he probably could do it, right? But do not fool yourself that you got it going or you need to be in a big damn hurry. Time is running out on you. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. The separator between me and you and people that win and lose is what we do with those seconds. And you're too slow. You're too cool. You're too casual. You think too much. You need to get in a hurry. The separator in this room, you're all learning the same things. The separator is going to be who takes massive action quickly. You all learn the same things. I know all you know. Lots of guys know what I know. Why aren't they wealthy? Why don't they have a $40 million jet? Why don't they live oceanfront in Laguna Beach? Why don't they have the most unbelievable homes in the world in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho? Why don't they retire their parents? Why don't, when their daughter breaks their nose, they go to an urgent care and some doofus snaps it back? I go to a $25,000 surgeon, write a check and don't think about it for my kids. So listen to me, look at my hands. You need to stop playing around. I'm looking around this room. Not all of you are 19 years old. Time's running out on you. You need to stop letting the damn world push your family around. You get pushed around all the time. And just because you hang around other dudes like you who also get pushed around all the time, it's not normal and it's not okay and you need to change it.
When you're nothing, and change yourself into something like me, you call it happiness, peace, whatever the fuck you want to call it. People are missing exactly what went on with David Goggins. Why don't you smile? I do. But I figured something out. That's why you'll never hear me say I'm missing something. I found it years ago. You find it in the suck. You find it in the suck, and you find it repeatedly in the suck, to the point where you know exactly who you are. Most people are missing something because they don't know who they are. They never examine themselves. They've never done this experiment on themselves. The lab rat, we're all lab rats, but you're also the scientist. God, I feel like I'm missing something. Yeah, because it's about 75% of you is still fucking in there. Still chained up because you just didn't want to find your willpower. Didn't want to find your soul, your will, your heart, your determination, your guts, your courage. And what that looks like, it looks scary. Like your little scary lab I went in. Scary. There's no hacks, bro. It's you against you. You against you. And if you misunderstand that, you have a real problem.
My default personality is insecure.
Even today?
Even today.
Come on.
Never link your confidence to your ability. Because I know you struggle with your confidence. It's predicated on your abilities or your achievements. But here's the biggie. If you don't have self-confidence, here's what you have. You have a really bad reputation with yourself.
Yes.
You have built a habit of not keeping the promises you make to yourself. We've all heard this before, but there's a level. I have a chapter in the book called One More Standard. Here's how I built what I would call almost superhuman confidence in spite of my insecurity. Think about that. Superhuman confidence in spite of my insecurity. And it's exactly what you just said. It's an effort play. If you don't have self-confidence, you've never kept the promises you make to yourself. Check that box. If you have self-confidence, you've started to keep the promises you make to yourself. If you want to have superhuman self-confidence, you keep the promises you make to yourself and one more. So if I'm going to get up and I'm going to work out, I'm going to do 10 reps in the gym, I do one more. Wow. If I'm going to do 45 minutes on the treadmill, I do one more. If I want to make 10 contacts in a day, I do that and one more. If I'm going to tell my daughter I love her every day, I'm going to do that and one more. Wow. And so that higher standard, because in life, we don't get our goals, we get our standards long term. And so if your standard is one more, what starts to happen is you go, I'm willing to do things other people aren't willing to do.